Marvel Rivals is not attempting to reinvent the wheel. When it was first unveiled earlier this year, the gut response from fans and skeptics alike was that it looked a whole lot like an Overwatch facsimile with licensed Marvel heroes and villains filling in the roles abdicated by Genji, Winston, and Roadhog. After jumping into the closed beta for a few hours, I can confirm all of those suspicions. This is a hero shooter that has studied the established formula hard, but so far, that has resulted in an experience that's flashy, polished, and ready to get under your skin. Like most multiplayer games, Marvel Rivals glosses over the specifics for why this alliance of superheroes has decided to beat each other to death over a variety of team-based objectives. It has something to do with a partnership between two different versions of Dr. Doom. Beyond that, who knows? But everything else here should be very familiar to anyone who spent time in a big, bouncy arena shooter. You'll be split into two teams of 6 players, with rosters categorized into basic tank, support, and DPS roles, all of whom are blessed with a variety of unique abilities and an ultimate that charges up over the course of the game.
Spider Flip!
Victory will be achieved if you can move a payload to the end of its route, or if you're able to camp on a control point, and all of the action takes place in blooming battlefields plucked from the greater Marvel canon.
Another epic victory!
Remind you of anything? Yes, Rivals takes its cues from Overwatch much more than it does from Valorant or Team Fortress 2. The tactics here aren't built around twitchy gunplay. In fact, a sizable chunk of its cast aren't wielding firearms at all, and across the board, they tend to absorb a ton of bullets before keeling over.
Team play! That's me!
Naturally, that makes Rivals more approachable to those who are turned off from traditional shooters. Do you want to toss up protective magical barriers and weave portals to teleport around the map? Doctor Strange might become your main.
A shortcut through space!
Better look behind you!
Would you rather bring a wide arsenal of munitions to the fight to try to win with your well-hewn Call of Duty skills? Then the Punisher might be more your speed.
Smoke up!
The asymmetry in each of these heroes is genuinely staggering. Developer NetEase has clearly dedicated a lot of time and resources into making sure the vividness of the Marvel fantasy is able to come to life within the narrow confines of a hero shooter. Consider Iron Man, who operates like a mobile artillery unit, throwing out huge splashes of damage to anyone below him.
Maximum pulse!
Sweet moves, right?
Star-Lord, meanwhile, has 2 blasters in his holster that automatically reload whenever he dashes forward. String those together correctly and you can absolutely melt the life bar of whoever was unlucky enough to be caught out of position.
Who's the man?
Rivals also does a good job of emphasizing one of the greatest traditions in comic books: team-up abilities, where 2 heroes combine their strengths and start wrecking shop. These are character-specific, and they often play off of the relationship between the heroes within the Marvel Universe as a whole. For instance, Rocket Raccoon can leap onto the shoulders of his old pal Groot, hooking him up with damage reduction and added mobility.
Hey, nice view from up here!
It's a cool wrinkle, and one that sounds difficult to balance. Ideally, at high levels, Marvel Rivals won't boil down to matches that feature a prescribed set of established synergies and still allow players to express their own creativity with their compositions.
I know I'm having a great time.
Because even now, in its unfinished state, Marvel Rivals is beautifully rendered. The characters are all gorgeously exaggerated and rippling with muscles, far more reminiscent of a comic shop in 1997 than anything from the MCU. The maps themselves are equally resplendent and surprisingly modular. Take aim at a wall and you might be able to blast it to smithereens.
Scourge grenade!
And perhaps most importantly, Rivals seems equally attuned to the whims of a select few esports adjacent diehards and those who simply want to burn off a weeknight crushing the opposition with the Hulk.
Smash it!
The package that NetEase has put together here is rock solid. Let's hope it stays thrilling when it jumps to live servers.
Oh, did you see that? King the bad guy.
For more previews of the biggest upcoming games, don't miss our hands-on impressions of Concord and Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN. This could be a one-sentence video, really. I got to play a solid dozen matches against the CPU of Battle Mode, one of a few different modes in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the upcoming fighting game built around DBZ's most famous and recognizable heroes and villains. Here's the key sentence. It absolutely feels like getting to play a battle from the legendary anime. That is both the most obvious thing I can say about it and the exact sentence that I imagine most DBZ fans want to hear. After choosing your fighter, and there are dozens of variations of well-known characters here, you choose one of over half a dozen stages to battle on, study up on your special moves, and then enter the arena. And once you get there, you'd be forgiven if you thought you were watching an episode of the anime. The cel-shaded visuals are note perfect to the show, and the animation equally helps sell the idea that your eyes are looking at a pre-baked episode of television and not a real-time interactive experience. But indeed you are. Once you start moving around and attacking, it really locks in as a Dragon Ball battle versus being a traditional one-on-one fighting game on a 2D plane. Not only can you fly anywhere you want, including launching yourself quite high in the air with a press of the left shoulder button, but you can quickly and easily unleash environment-destroying attacks like Goku's Meteor Smash that will reduce half a cliffside to a pile of dust in an instant. The goal, the Bandai Namco folks told me, was to make players feel as powerful as possible. Mission accomplished there. If you choose Custom Battle, you can set very unique victory conditions, lending an extra bit of opportunity to recreate your favorite confrontations from the anime, whether you're fighting Piccolo, Raditz, or one of dozens of other characters. I scrolled through the list and there is truly an insane number of options here. Also, Bandai Namco was quick to point out that local multiplayer will be available on day one for both early access and DBSZ's formal 1.0 launch. Even after just a dozen or so matches against the CPU, it became clear to me that Dragon Ball Super fans who are exceptionally good at fighting games, or those who intend to practice a lot with Sparking Zero, are going to find themselves having a great time crushing their competition. For more on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, don't miss the new release date trailer as well as the reveal trailer, and for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Myths, history, just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried, just waiting to be found.
Can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me. Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
Patron of the fallen angels. Protector of the Circulimani. The Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
Play it day one with Game Pass.
The 1997 cult classic movie Starship Troopers by director Paul Verhoeven is a relentless war film that leans heavily into the spectacle and over-the-top nature of intergalactic warfare. With the upcoming Starship Troopers Extermination from Beyond the Wire publisher Off-World Industries, the video game adaptation seeks to expand upon the film's chaotic and gory combat sequences for its focus on co-op squad-based action. I got an early look at Extermination ahead of its early access release on May 17th and saw its unique blend of large-scale combat and tower defense-style gameplay firsthand. And so far, it has the makings for a compelling twist on the original film's concept of soldiers out of their depth being thrust headfirst into a fight against an endless swarm of alien bugs.
Once your boot's on the ground, the infestation will feel relentless.
Extermination takes place decades after the original film and sees a new division of Deep Space Vanguards face off against the extremely hostile alien species known as the Arachnids, otherwise known as bugs. The squad of troopers takes on a variety of resource gathering and bug hunt missions, all while facing off against an onslaught of vicious arachnids that can easily tear your squad apart. The main loop focuses on running and gunning against the bugs, capturing territory, and building bases and ammo depots to mostly even the playing field against the opposition. Before each game, you get to choose from one of 3 different class types: the jetpack-wearing assault class, a heavy class that can pull up a mobile shield to hunker down and lay down suppressive fire on bugs, and a support unit that can call up medic drones to heal the squad. When the action goes off, Extermination features some solid shooting and team mechanics at work, including a helpful ping system. But as the infestation level increases, more bugs and new variants appear, pushing the need for more focused tactics and class skills to survive. The sheer scale of the onslaught can be overwhelming, especially when some of the sneakier bugs catch you off guard. But Extermination is fairly generous with the revives and respawns, allowing you and the squad to quickly get back into the action. On the surface, this setup is quite the norm for most other co-op focused shooters such as Warhammer 40,000 Darktide or the Left 4 Dead series. However, what Starship Troopers Extermination leans into is the sheer scale of the battlefield and the conflict. With large player counts of 16, battles are out in the open, forcing you and your squad to keep on the move to knock out the randomized objectives that take you to different areas of the field. While I did feel that there was some extended downtime in between objectives, which resulted in uneventful stretches of running around, the game's dynamic pacing and encounters mostly keeps a steady flow going. One of Extermination's most interesting additions is the surprisingly robust and engaging base building system. At the key building points across the map, your team can rapidly build structures to create defensive perimeters, traps, and vantage points for your group to defend yourselves against the swarm of bugs. During my hands-on, I worked diligently to get a wall in place, but as soon as I turned out, the rest of the base's defenses were already built up by the rest of the squad. My favorite moments from the preview session all came from the final sequences of each match, which focus on hunkering down to defend a derelict base and wait for evacuation. These blend the tower defense gameplay with intense close quarters action, balancing the need to repair structures while gunning down the bugs trying to get inside. The final push, no matter how well prepared we were, always felt intense and challenging and making for an exciting capper to each round. I really enjoyed the relentless nature of Starship Troopers Extermination, which captures the film's breakneck pace. At times, though, I did feel that its heightened action made some battles feel a bit too overwhelming to keep up with. Still, getting into the thick of it reminded me of the more intense moments from the movie, which the game captures so well. The upcoming early access release puts the game in a great place to refine its mechanics and develop its overall tone and vibe. At launch, the game will have its core map and set of classes, with new content dropping within the first year. While it often spends time recreating those movie moments, which is what many film fans no doubt want, there are periods where the game's original idea shows promise, and that was exciting to see. For more on Starship Troopers Extermination, check out the most recent trailer, and for everything else in the world of video games, head on over to IGN.
And remember, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Welcome to Obsidian Entertainment. I'm so proud to share with you our upcoming fantasy action RPG, Avowed. Avowed is an adventure into the heart of the living lands, a frontier at the edge of the known world, where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague and discover a secret at the heart of the living lands. At Obsidian, we love creating worlds with deep themes, dynamic gameplay, and thoughtful reactivity. And Avowed is no different. We set out to blend the believable and fantastical to give players a world and experience like no other. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's strange. It's one of the most incredible settings in the world of Aora. There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character, and you're going to have a great time getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk more about Avowed's combat is Gabriel Paramo, Gameplay Director.
Here at Obsidian, our team's overarching goal is to empower you with choice. So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages against a wide range of enemy types. It's not just hacking and slashing. You're making real-time decisions about when to use your abilities, powerful melee attacks, blocks, parries, and special attacks. If you choose to approach combat with a one-handed wand, it feels quick and snappy when dealing damage to enemies at mid-range. Using the Tanglefoot ability, you can stop enemies in their tracks, giving you the opportunity to focus on weaker or tougher combatants in an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive, some are brutishly difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we provide customizable loadouts that can be quickly switched during combat. That means you can play however you want. Equip a sword and shield and charge into battle. Dual-wield pistols and control the encounter mid-range. Or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage. You could use your enchanted wand to freeze enemies and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them. We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will have ample choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the Living Lands as they get to know the game and the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences, like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the Living Lands. As you're exploring, you come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone, is at fault.
Just the 4 of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. Training under Captain Ruiki, trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
In other words, you're a gang of vigilantes. Not that I'm one to judge.
Here. Take my badge. Take everyone's. Our families deserve to know we fought and died for them.
Making the right choice isn't always what it seems. We embrace moral nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
My squad and I rested in the cave by the water last night, and as we were sleeping, we were ambushed by those miserable Zorips. I was so surprised, and it was so dark. I just got separated from everyone else. Look, I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you? What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault. No, they should have never have camped in the cave. I'll take the badges. I'm going back to Thirdborn.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest. Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build. Art director Matt Hansen and the team have worked to create a unique, colorful, and dynamic visual style.
From the outset, we knew that we wanted Avowed setting to feel rich, weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique RPG experience. By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players. The Living Lands is a continent of untamed valleys with widely varied biomes, from luxuriant forests to volcanic wastes. And each of those regions itself is a conflux of storied landscapes. All of the regions have a lot of special things associated with them, but I have a deep place in my heart for Shatterscarp. As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure, and even a little danger.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more about the game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to explore the Living Lands when Avowed launches this fall.
Back in 2022, I previewed World of Warcraft's last expansion, Dragonflight, in a press pre-alpha situation. I'm always hesitant to glowingly recommend an entire MMORPG expansion based on brief early alpha storyline play and not the sum of its content. But Dragonflight felt exceptional out of the gate, and it was, largely thanks to the transformative new dragon riding mechanic and other major changes that shook off the dust from the widely panned Shadowlands expansion. Blizzard designed the Dragon Isles with bombast in mind, and my very early experiences zipping around them adequately conveyed the sense of increased scale and majesty that would carry throughout the entire expansion. Looking at The War Within's pre-alpha by comparison, I'm not quite as enraptured. I don't dislike it, to be clear. Largely, it just feels like more World of Warcraft, which is fine. And it's impossible at this stage to say if my muted feelings are because of anything particularly sinful about the new expansion, or just because I've seen so little of it.
Something. Someone is calling out from the heart of the world.
We cannot let the world fall to darkness.
Earlier this week, I played roughly 90 minutes or so of story content in the first zone, the Isle of Dorn. Most of this involved a very linear, fast-paced storyline, chasing some dwarf factions around to put a council together and fight a familiar Warcraftian race of evil bug people. World of Warcraft veterans will encounter nothing shocking here. Kill 12 enemies, rescue 6 dudes, clean up rubble, find Bran Bronzebeard, blow up Nerubian nests with kegs of explosive alcohol, you know, the usual stuff. The Isle of Dorn story I saw played out very fast, possibly due to numerous quests that have yet to be implemented in the early alpha build, but also it might be because the surface of Dorn itself is potentially the least exciting zone of the War Within. I wish I had incentive to explore more of it on foot, honestly, as I think I would have enjoyed it more, but having dynamic flying available right out of the gate means I spent a lot of time zooming from town to town and almost no time happily getting lost. I don't know. Dorn is fine, I guess. It's a greenish island with some mountains and caves and forests and dwarven architecture, and a good chunk of the space is given up to the new capital city, Dornogal. All of the biggest, most exciting backdrops that Blizzard has teased for the War Within are located deep underground in Khazalgar, the expansion's surprising new vertical, not horizontal series of zones. Blizzard has mentioned a massive Titan industrial complex, an ancient Nerubian city, and a subterranean cavern lit by a massive crystal sun. I want to go there. I also ran a dungeon, but the Rookery was not what I would call the most enthralling display of World of Warcraft dungeoning I've ever seen. It wasn't bad, it was just fine. There's a fight where you have to jump into a pit when you get hit by lightning, and another where a big guy pops out of some water and dumps darkness all over you. I didn't get a chance to try the other alpha-enabled dungeon, Cinderbrew Meadery, in time to write this preview, but given how much I liked Stormstout Brewery in Mists of Pandaria, I expect it might have sparked a little more excitement. Delves, a brand new feature, were a bit more interesting. Aided by an NPC companion, you, and up to 4 others if you so choose, essentially do a mini dungeon focused on collecting treasure. Each delve I completed made use of a unique mechanic. A kobold-themed delve forced me to watch my steps in a health-sapping darkness so my candle wouldn't burn out, and a Nerubian-themed delve was covered in enemy-summoning spider webs. I like the principle of delves, especially as a player who enjoys relaxing with solo exploration-focused content and fondly remembers my withered running away a few expansions ago. Blizzard only offered limited options in the alpha, so the few delves I was able to try got repetitive pretty fast, but I'm optimistic as to the possibilities once everything opens up at launch.
Don't step in those webs. Nerubians might pop out if you do.
Finally, hero talents. Look, I'm not a theory crafter or anything, but I'm not convinced just yet that they're going to drastically transform gameplay. It's at least a nice, simple system. Level up, get talent point, put in talent tree, done. No grinds for artifact power, no corruption dice rolls, no farming soul ash every week. As a busy adult, that's a huge relief. I don't don't know if the long-term solution to World of Warcraft's need for continual character growth is to keep slapping more talent trees on top of talent trees, though, so I'm curious as to what the much longer-term plans for the system are. And as someone enamored with the idea of class fantasy, I can't help but long for a little more flavor for my elemental shaman. Sure, it's neat to summon little ghosties by using my most powerful spell, but is there more to it than just powering these ghosts up? Is this the upgrade I'm stuck with for the next 2 years? Will the totemic path be totally different and let me do some cool totem dropping play? There are still loads of questions we won't see answered until later in the alpha or even the beta. Patience. I probably sound a little down on the War Within, but I really do think most of my hesitation comes from how immediately stunning Dragonflight was in 2022 and how little I've seen of the War Within so far. I'll leave this preview with 2 optimistic thoughts. First, we didn't get to see the introductory scenario to the War Within, but based on the aftermath I started in, which I won't spoil, but you can see in the video footage if you look closely, the inciting incident of this expansion is mad bonkers and has some wild implications, so I'm very, very interested to see where they take it. Second, toward the end of my demo, a quest seemed to suggest I needed to descend into Khazalgar to proceed, so I dove down on my dragon into the Coreway tunnels. A barrier prevented me from going further into the next zone, but I got the briefest taste of the sheer depth we're dealing with here, and it genuinely got my heart beating faster. I was momentarily reminded of Zeralet Caverns from Dragonflight, but the sheer depth I was zooming into gave me an overwhelming sense that the whole thing was about to open up into something huge. What that hugeness was, I never saw. But I love the idea of a vertical continent, and it makes me hopeful that Blizzard has some neat ideas to give both Khazalgar and the War Within more depth than I saw from the surface. For more, check out our previews of Hellblade 2 and The Rogue Prince of Persia. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
The biggest video game convention on Earth is back, and IGN will be there to cover every second.
Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom.
The coolest new games.
Tons of world premieres. It's awesome to be here at Gamescom.
Gamescom 2024.
Are you sure you want to investigate this, Hindi?
I can't let this go. It could be the best kept secret in history.
What are you going to do, Indiana?
These artifacts have a deep connection to something in the past. Boss believes they hold a kind of power. A discovery that could change the world.
What were you doing out there?
Fresh air! We have to find the stones, Gina. Or they will. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you'd get a perfectly aligned circle.
The Great Circle.
Exactly.
I intercepted the Morse code coming from the Himalayas.
Where Voss is sending all of his men.
Is that a...
Battleship? Yep. Let's get a closer look.
Gotta find the stone and get off this ship.
What's that in his hands? What does it say?
Earth something. What was that?
We'd better hide. Ciao.
Hands behind your head. Where's the stone, you American rat?
What stone?
Have you ever heard of Höhenangst?
Fear of heights?
Yes! I endured this dreadful mountain even if my mind was screaming every step of the way. Because of a concept you narrow-minded Americans will never understand! Devotion. Total and absolute devotion to the fatherland. You have no purpose. What you have is your stupid American cartoons. Choo-choo, choo-choo. Ha 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 ha. You laugh and dance, celebrating your own idiocy and drinking the piss you call beer. I will walk through fire for the devoted men of the Reich. Give me that stone. Now!
Can't give you what I don't have.
I shall search your corpse to make sure!
Wait! Please wait.
Give me the stone.
Gina.
We gotta get out of here.
Help me!
The stone! The stone!
Gina! Haltet sie auf! Erschießt sie!
Hab dich.
Play it day one with Game Pass.
As soon as we find a good spot, we can get things set up and ready to go. And then we can get started.
This is gonna be great!
You bet.
I hope we find them soon.
Incredible. I've never heard of a Karatnoth herd this big before. One of them's got big spikes on its back.
Now to lead it away from the pack. We'll make for the desert.
Right! The sandstorm! Now commencing the hunt by order of the guild.
selected you as a lead hunter for this expedition.
Thank you, sir.
There's nothing quite like the moment right before sitting down to see a new Civilization game for the first time, particularly since this is the longest we've ever had to wait for a new one. And I'm happy to say I came away with a pretty positive outlook on Civilization 7. It's a more daring, risky take on the formula than any of the past few iterations have been, and I think that's definitely the way to go, considering those older games aren't going anywhere and are still quite playable. From ages that completely transform your chosen civ, to a bold, readable, but grounded new art style, Firaxis is already putting their best foot forward. The historical 4X space has gotten a lot more crowded since Civ 6, and it seems apparent that Firaxis has been paying attention to what others dipping a toe into the genre have been doing. That leads us to the biggest single change Civ 7 is introducing. Like in 2020's Humankind, you won't be playing a single civilization for your entire campaign.
The radiance of the new world came into being bathed in nectar.
There are three distinct ages: Antiquity, Exploration, and Modern. The devs were quick to point out that ages aren't exactly equivalent to eras in past Civ games, since they're quite a bit longer and more distinct. By turn 125 on standard speed, I was still in 1150 BC according to the RP clock, for instance. A campaign should take about the same amount of time as in past Civ games. You'll pick a new Civ to play for each age, with its own bonuses, units, and map graphics. The thing that will stay with you is your initial choice of leader, a 3D avatar for your entire campaign that comes with their own set of permanent bonuses. The leaders themselves remain visually consistent throughout the ages. You won't see Hatshepsut in a pantsuit in modern times, for instance, and they're all civilization agnostic. Hatshepsut's bonuses synergize well with those of ancient Egypt, so you'll have some incentive to match a leader to their historical civ if you're min-maxing, but you can play her as the leader of any of the starting antique civs. After all, you might be finishing the campaign as the United States, so there will be some mixing and matching regardless.
Sed tandem aedificabo marmoream urbem ubi ante alateres.
Firaxis is also taking the opportunity to include some leaders who weren't necessarily top-level political figures this time, so we don't end up with just the exact same cast we've seen over and over again. Ben Franklin was specifically called out, though I didn't get to see him fully animated in 3D yet.
When falls the Colosseum, Rome shall fall.
What isn't totally agnostic is your choice of a new civ in the coming age, addressing one of my gripes with humankind, that you could go from Celts to Chinese with little or no narrative context. Every starting civ will have at least one natural path that's always available to them. Egypt can naturally transition into Songhai and then Buganda, but everyone can also potentially earn access to certain later age civs that are unlocked by gameplay choices. For example, cultivating several horse resources in antiquity can allow you to become the Mongols for the exploration age. Other interesting progression paths mentioned included starting as Rome, then becoming the Normans, and finally ending as England.
हम अशोक ही संसार के मध्य बिंदु के एगो महान राजा.
Transitioning between ages will come with a period of crisis, and I got to see just the beginning of one of them for antiquity, which was called the Rising Storm. Depicting the fall of the great empires of old, it required me to take one crisis policy card, similar to Civ 6's Dark Ages, where all of them were bad, so it was definitely a pick your poison moment. At the same time, new groups of independent people, who have completely replaced barbarians and city-states, but can act like either one depending on what state of development they're in, and can be dealt with militarily or diplomatically, started spawning around my hinterlands. Transitioning to a new age doesn't only give you new mechanical bonuses though. Lead designer Ed Beach used the city of London as an example of how you build cities in Civ 7. Comparing maps of Roman London to medieval London, very little of the former city is left standing, and the same is true if you compare medieval London to modern London. New civilizations are built over the ruins of the past, and through a concept called overbuilding, that's literally what we'll be doing in the later ages of Civ 7. Cities are still sprawled across multiple tiles like in Civ 6, but there are now only two types of districts, urban and rural. Urban districts can hold up to 2 buildings at the start of antiquity, increasing over time, and might gain special meta attributes based on what you build there. For Egypt, I was able to establish a unique funerary district by building both of their Civ unique buildings in the same place. So unlike Civ 6, a science district isn't a thing you plop down that is going to start out being focused entirely on science. It's just an urban district that you have chosen to specialize towards science with synergistic buildings.
Preparing the lands for new growth. Here Egypt will compel the world to behold the wonders it works.
Rural districts are more or less what used to be called tile improvements. Remember builders? They're gone. Moving citizens around between tiles? Also gone. Instead, what now happens is when you would gain a new citizen through population growth, you immediately are prompted to plop down a new district, which will be empty if it's urban. You still need to spend production on city buildings. Or possibly add a specialist to an existing district if you've unlocked the civics for it. In the build I played, you could only place districts adjacent to existing ones, which on the one hand creates tighter and more believable urban cores. I didn't really think this restriction made sense for rural districts though. I'd like to be able to place those a bit further out, since the look of outlying farms and mines spread around my city center, I think, creates a really nice scene. And the way it is currently, you can't really save room for future urban sprawl, so I ended up with kind of a weird looking checkerboard of urban and rural, which doesn't feel especially authentic. Settling new cities also now starts them out as a town, which doesn't have a production queue and instead turns all of its production into gold. You can still buy things directly in a town with gold, and the cost of upgrading it to a full city will be reduced by how much you've built it up this way already. I found this to be a nice option for expansion, since I don't really like managing 15 different production queues. Overall, Civ 7 looks great so far. Civ 6's art style was, shall we say, divisive, and I was more on the negative side for sure. All these years later, I still think Civ 5 looks better than its direct successor. Civ 7 has taken another stylized but much more grounded and tactile approach. The main influences on the art style were painted miniatures, model trains, dioramas, and museum displays, and everything on the map is great to look at. I really did feel like I could reach down in there and pick these little guys up to get a closer look at them.
I protect thee with this flame.
It's the first Civ game in a while that really feels current gen in a visual sense. The mountains look a bit less mountainy, more like isolated peaks than the nice, realistic, sprawling ranges you'd get in previous games, but that's my only graphics gripe so far. The leaders, continuing on the tradition of Civ 6, are rendered with tons of detail and personality. We got a look at Hatshepsut of Egypt, Amina of Zazau, the natural leader for Aksum, Augustus of Rome, and Ashoka of the Maurya. On the diplomatic screen, both of the negotiating leaders are now shown interacting, which adds a nice bit of dramatic flair.
Veni, gladia vostra nostro muro frangite.
Diplomacy has also been greatly reworked from Civ 6. Influence is now a baseline currency produced by certain buildings, and you spend it on direct actions that target another Civ. Firaxis wants to reduce the emphasis on transactional horse trading type diplomacy, so every time you do something diplomatically, it's more of a specific jab or handshake that you're engaging in. Influence also has a fairly low cap and is use it or lose it, encouraging you to engage in diplomacy regularly.
Nietzsche Amina, Saronia Amina.
One really interesting example of this was a treaty Amina kept hitting me with when we were on less than great terms, which would cause my relationship with my BFF Augustus to deteriorate unless I spent an even larger ante of influence to counter it. This presents some diabolical ways you can play other civs against each other, and a reason to keep some influence in the bank. The other really great twist with influence is that you can spend it during a war to increase your side's war support, which works kind of like a diplomatic tug of war. If one side has invested a lot more influence than the other into war support, the side with less will suffer scaling penalties to combat effectiveness and happiness in their cities. So diplomacy is now key to the military game as well, which I love.
Es ist wieder soweit. Gamescom, die größte Videospielmesse der Welt, öffnet ihre Tore und wir sind natürlich wieder alle Tage vor Ort in Köln, um euch die wichtigsten Spiele, brandneues Gameplay und spannende Interviews zu präsentieren. Bei uns im Studio und direkt vom Showfloor in den Hallen. Heute mit The Alters, Monster Hunter Wilds, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Starship Troopers Extermination und vieles, vieles mehr. Bleibt dran, denn Gamescom Studio startet genau jetzt. Herzlich willkommen hier im Gamescom Studio, powered by IGN, auf der Gamescom 2024. Ich bin Manuel Fritsch und ich bin natürlich nicht alleine hier in unserem wunderbaren Studio in Halle 7 in Köln, sondern mit meinem fantastischen Team, was ihr auch schon die letzten Jahre gesehen habt. Anne, Sebastian und Leo, schön, dass ihr wieder mit dabei seid.
Servus.
Wir haben volles Programm für euch. Jeden Tag ab 12 Uhr bis 14 Uhr. Deutsches Programm mit Interviews, mit ganz vielen Interviewgästen. Und Leo geht natürlich auch über die Hallen und schaut sich an, was da draußen auf der Gamescom alles zu sehen ist. Wir wollen aber den Morgen heute hier starten und beginnen oder den Tag beginnen mit der Zusammenfassung der Opening Night Live.
Ja, bitte.
Natürlich ein Riesenthema immer am Dienstagabend auf der Gamescom, die Opening Night Live von und mit Jeff Keighley und einer neuen Co-Moderatorin, Shox, die aus Berlin angereist ist, glaube ich Belgierin ist und mit ihm zusammen durchs Programm geführt hat. War ein sehr schönes Abendprogramm und es gab tatsächlich dieses Jahr auch einige Neuankündigungen, was mich sehr für die Köln-Messe natürlich auch freut und für die Gamescom. Und Jeff Keighley hat dann doch ein paar Perlen rausgerückt und sie sich nicht nur für die Game Awards aufgehoben, sondern auch mal für die Opening Night Live einspringen lassen.
Es war auch, glaube ich, mal Zeit. Also man hat das die letzten Jahre schon immer, also seit sage ich jetzt mal, der Covid-Lockdown auch wirklich vorbei ist, hat man sich das, glaube ich, gewünscht, gerade mit einer ONL und Jeff Keighley, dass dann auch wirklich mal so eine AAA-Ankündigung kommt. Ja. Und ein Borderlands 4 ist mal ungeachtet des Films, der gerade so im Kino startet, ist, glaube ich, auch so ein Game, mit dem viele erstmal nicht so gerechnet haben. Also das ist nichts, was jetzt irgendwo schon geleakt war, was jetzt bei 2K nicht immer der Fall ist. Ja, da liegt vorher schon mal gern irgendwas so durch. Und bei Borderlands 4 bin ich sehr gespannt. Ja. Also
Anne, du hast ja gestern mit Jeff Keighley auch noch kurz gesprochen.
Ja.
Er war auch sehr happy, dass es nicht geleakt wurde. Ne?
Ja, ich habe mich extra für euch auf die Party geschlichen und habe mit ihm gesprochen. Und er meinte, er ist total glücklich über diese ganze Show, wie das verlaufen ist, dass er endlich auch mal Material von wirklich großen Studios bekommen hat, Sachen, die noch nicht angekündigt wurden. Ist ja eine Seltenheit eigentlich bei der ONL. Und er ist wirklich sehr happy über den ganzen Verlauf und meinte so, ey, dass Mafia nicht rausgegangen ist vorher, ist Wahnsinn.
Bist du jetzt dementsprechend auch Best Friends mit Jeff Keighley? Also
wir kennen uns seit Jahren.
Wirst du demnächst jetzt auch ein Studio gründen und dann ein Spiel rausbringen, was dann exklusiv bei ihm ankündigt?
Natürlich.
Das ist toll.
Absolut.
Also das sind die Symbiosen, die wir brauchen.
Ja.
Nächstes Jahr der Gamescom-Simulator. Das Ganze mit ihm entwickelt.
Naja, ein Spiel haben wir ja gesehen, wo Jeff Keighley als Charakter auch drin aufgetaucht ist, dieses Game. Aber die zweite Ankündigung, die große, die hast du schon gesagt, das war dieses One More Thing am Ende, ein neues Mafia-Spiel und das Mafia-Spiel im alten Sizilien. Also wir haben sowohl für Borderlands als auch für Mafia nur einen kurzen Teaser gesehen, also noch kein Gameplay, aber hat mich sehr gefreut, dass wir da tatsächlich so eine
Da habe ich ja überhaupt nicht mit gerechnet.
Habe ich gar nicht mit gerechnet.
Also das ist eine Reihe, die liegt ja schon ein bisschen länger auf Eis. Dann gab es ja, glaube ich, mal die Remaster von den ersten Teilen. Und dann war es still. Und jetzt ist Mafia zurück und ich glaube, da haben sich sehr, sehr viele Leute wirklich doll drüber gefreut. Ich bin gespannt.
Und natürlich auch in einem alten Setting, so die Hochzeit, also im negativen Sinne natürlich auch die Hochzeit der Mafia in Sizilien. Das ist, glaube ich...
meine italienischen Kollegen würden da widersprechen, würden sagen, das haben sie bestimmt jetzt einfach nur gerade so abgefilmt. Ja, da fährst du einfach runter und...
Sagen, das ist ein normaler Dienst.
Da hat sich nichts verändert. Nein, aber hier haben wir tatsächlich so eine interessante Parallele zu Borderlands. Eigentlich mit so einer Trilogie sind wir durch. Wir haben abgeschlossen, wie du ja schon sagst, Remake, Remaster von den alten Teilen. Jetzt haben wir hier de facto ein Teil 4, natürlich bei Borderlands auf jeden Fall, da steht ja die 4 im Namen, aber auch bei einem Mafia geht es jetzt mit dem Namen auch weiter. Bin ich sehr gespannt, einfach weil das eine Atmosphäre ist, auf die man sofort drauf
Ja,
klar.
Absolut. Apropos Atmosphäre, ein absoluter Atmosphäreknaller war auch Secret Level. Die Serie, die neu angekündigt wurde, war auch brandneu, hatte ich noch nichts davon gehört. Ja. Und man hat es der Person, Leo, auch angemerkt. Du hast auch gesagt zu mir dann, da war jemand und der hatte dann ganz viel Tränen auf der Bühne. Also der war richtig emotional, der Producer.
Ja, das fand ich super süß und das kann ich auch gut nachvollziehen. Ich meine, gerade so eine animierten Serien, das dauert einfach ewig und 3 Jahre, bis die fertiggestellt sind. Es sind auch irgendwie unfassbar viele viele Names dabei, viele Spiele, die anscheinend da Einflüsse drauf genommen haben. Und da kann ich verstehen, dass wenn man da mal einen Trailer oder einen Teaser-Trailer zeigen darf, dass das schon ein Moment ist, der einem nahe geht.
Vor allem, wenn es vorher nicht geleakt wurde.
Ja, auch das.
Es wird dann halt einfach auch real und ich glaube, wer schon mal an größeren Projekten gearbeitet hat, die nicht kommuniziert werden durften und dann kann man es präsentieren und dann merkt man ja auch, das Feedback war ja sofort da. Dann kann da schon auch die ein oder andere Träne fließen. Und gerade wie du jetzt gerade schon gesagt hast, Leo, die Properties, die da teilweise auftauchen und auch one-on-one gezeigt werden, das ist schon komplett absurd. Also ich weiß bis jetzt nicht und ich weiß, das werden sie auch wahrscheinlich nie kommunizieren, wie sie diese Lizenzen letztendlich da an Bord gekriegt haben.
Ja.
Weil das sind ja so viele Dutzende Namen, die da einfach auch wirklich in echt genutzt werden. Also nicht nur inspiriert durch, sondern one-on-one. Ein Kratos taucht da auf.
Ja.
Das letztendlich lizenziert zu kriegen, alleine das dauert schon Jahre. Ja, damit das nicht kollidiert mit irgendwelchen eigenen Veröffentlichungen, dass sich das dann nicht in die Quere kommt. Und jetzt sprechen wir hier nicht nur von einer IP, sondern Dutzenden IPs, die da plötzlich einfach gezeigt werden.
Genau, ihr habt es gerade gesehen, 15 einzelne Episoden und jede Episode wird ein Spiel als Thema haben und dann animierte Episode dazu bringen. Ein irres Projekt, irre aufwendig. Spannend daran finde ich auch, dass das von den Love, Death and Robot Leuten ist, die das gemacht haben, was eine Netflix-Serie ist und die Serie läuft jetzt auf Prime. Ein kleiner netter Konkurrenzkampf. Wird sich die Frage stellen, was dann mit Love, Death and Robot passiert. Ähnlicher Konkurrenzkampf fand ich auch spannend auf der Bühne, ausgetragen sozusagen, aber ohne darüber zu reden. Die Leute von Little Nightmares, nämlich Tarsier Studios, machen nicht Little Nightmares 3, das ist ja schon länger bekannt, sondern machen ein eigenes Spiel, was wir auch gesehen haben, nämlich Reanimal. Ähnliches Spiel, so ein bisschen wie Limbo oder eben auch Little Nightmares 1 und 2, aber neue IP, neues Horrorszenario, aber auch wieder kleine Kinder mit lustigen Hüten, die in einem gruseligen Szenario unterwegs sind. Sieht sehr, sehr eklig aus, im positiven Sinne. Ich habe auch schon so eine kleine Developer-Präsentation dazu gehabt vor ein paar Wochen. Ist wirklich, wirklich sehr, sehr schön. Gleichzeitig haben wir aber letztes Jahr auf der ONL ja Little Nightmares 3 angekündigt bekommen, zu dem es hier diesmal jetzt auch Gameplay gab, was jetzt von Supermassive Games gemacht wird.
Also
finde ich interessant, dass Jeff auch beide Titel gleichzeitig auf die Bühne holt.
Das ist eine sehr interessante Begegnung. Ich würde auch gerne mal wissen, wie da so die Stimmung ist bei beiden Teams. Also die sind sich bestimmt, sage ich mal, natürlich sind die sich grün. Da gibt es jetzt nicht irgendwie Backstabbing. Aber das ist schon, glaube ich, also zu sehen, wie andere Teams an deinem Baby arbeiten, das weiterführen in irgendeiner Form und du machst was ganz anderes.
Ja.
Also die Hintergrundgeschichte, die würde ich gerne.
Das würde ich auch gerne wissen. Ich finde es auch besonders spannend, dass beide Spiele sich entschieden haben, in die Koop-Richtung zu gehen.
Ja.
Ne? Also du hast ja jetzt sowohl in dem einen als auch in dem anderen zwei Charaktere, die du entweder selber mit einer KI-Begleitung spielen kannst oder halt wirklich mit einem anderen lieben Menschen zusammen. Das ist auch... da wollten wahrscheinlich beide das Gleiche und die einen haben es mit Little Nightmares gemacht und die anderen eben mit...
Aber bei Koop sind wir schon eine ganze Weile. Also ich würde ja auch behaupten, dass Koop oder generell Couch-Koop, jetzt egal ob jetzt Multiplayer im größeren Stil, nicht nur, dass es wiederkommt. Ich würde sagen, in den letzten Jahren hat sich das schon krass etabliert, dass das immer breiter wird, dass man das bei so vielen Spielen wie möglich versucht irgendwie mit reinzubringen, weil es einfach auch Sinn macht, dass wenn man zu zweit, zu dritt, zu viert spielt, das natürlich nochmal ein ganz anderes Erlebnis ist.
Und besonders bei Horror, da willst du ja auch nicht alleine durch.
Ganz
also, wenn da wieder der 10. Clown in 20 Kilometer der Größe auf dich zukommt, dann wäre es doch schön, wenn du jemanden dabei hast.
Wenn ihr dazu mehr wissen wollt, bleibt auf jeden Fall dran die Woche. Wir haben Little Nightmares 3 im Studio und Reanimal schauen wir uns auch am Stand an. Die sind hier, glaube ich, nämlich direkt neben uns. Also einfach dranbleiben, jeden Tag ab 12. Indiana Jones und der große Kreis werden wir nicht im Koop spielen können, aber das ist auch ein Highlight gewesen. Wussten wir natürlich, dass wir dazu auch eine Extended View sehen werden. Troy Baker, leider nicht Harrison Ford selber, wird diesen Charakter mimen und spielen. Troy Baker versucht, seine Stimme ein bisschen tiefer klingen zu lassen, damit er mehr wie der alte Harrison Ford klingt. Man merkt ihm aber auch an, dass es ein Herzensprojekt ist.
Ja, macht er ganz gut,
Die Alternative zu Batman sein ist Indiana Jones sein.
Schon irgendwie,
er freut sich, sehr, diesen Schlapphut aufziehen zu dürfen. Und sie haben ja auch, man sieht es auch am Gameplay, es sehr gut hingekriegt, finde ich, den alten Harrison Ford zwischen Film 1 und Film 2 einzufangen und diese Atmosphäre ins Spiel zu bringen. Freut ihr euch auf das Spiel? Also ist das euer Ding?
Ich bin sehr gespannt, weil ich das Entwicklerteam ja hier haben werde im Studio fürs Interview und gerne auch wissen möchte, für wen dieses Spiel gemacht wurde. Weil es wirkt aufgrund der Trailer, kann man nicht so richtig abschätzen, ist das jetzt ein Spiel für Filmliebhaber, die eigentlich gar nicht so sehr Controller in die Hand nehmen, oder ist es auch mehr was für uns, die wirklich jeden Tag sich mit Videospielen beschäftigen? Das wird eine spannende Frage sein, die ich versuche zu klären.
Es wirkt auf jeden Fall sehr cinematisch. Ne?
Ja,
also so auch wie die Filme sind, du merkst schon, da steckt eine Story wahrscheinlich dahinter, die sich da auch sehr gut einfügen wird. Das macht man immer sehr gern, dass man irgendwie nicht versucht, die Filme zu touchieren, wenn man schon einen Videospielmoment hat, sondern das irgendwo dazwischen anzusiedeln, wo es am meisten Sinn macht. Für mich muss ich das Spiel noch emanzipieren von diesem ultimativen Vergleich. Die Uncharted-Serie, die gibt's halt. Viele Leute sagen Adventure, das ist Uncharted. Wenn wir jetzt Indiana Jones haben, werden wir schauen müssen, wie sich das davon abheben kann.
Ja.
Also das muss es auf jeden Fall schaffen, weil ansonsten ist es für mich halt einfach nur so eine Randnotiz. Aber ich bin sehr zuversichtlich, mit Machine Games und Bethesda im Hintergrund. Ich glaube nicht, dass die das einfach so als so nebenbei mal einfach auf die Beine gestellt haben.
Eben, man möchte halt wissen, wird es Indiana Jones, der große Kreis, oder für Dora the Explorer das kleine Viereck?
Ja.
Ja. Also, auch das werden wir hier im Studio haben. Die werden zu uns ins Studio kommen. Wir werden ausführlich darüber reden. Wir werden auch versuchen, Troy Baker irgendwie vor die Kamera zu kriegen. Vielleicht rennt er ja hier rum mit seiner Fedora und der Peitsche.
Deine Lebensaufgabe, Leo.
Ich mach das. Ich halt die Augen offen.
Genau, wir halten die Augen offen. Also, wir gehen gleich spannend hier weiter. Und ich habe nämlich noch eine kleine Überraschung. Wir haben tatsächlich auch eine World Premiere. Ich wollte es schon immer sagen. Endlich kann ich sagen, jetzt seht ihr eine World Premiere. Wir haben den exklusiven Trailer für The Games You Make. Auch die werden bei uns am Samstag im Studio sein. Ein super cutes Indie-Studio hier aus München, die ihr Spiel hier präsentieren am Samstag bei unserem großen Indie-Special. Bleibt dran jetzt für diese World Premiere. Und wir machen gleich spannend weiter hier. Bis gleich.
You never forget your first drop.
Reinforcements inbound. Hang tight, demons.
From the moment those doors open up, everything changes.
Let's go, troopers! Move up!
And let me tell you, when it hits the fan,
But they coming!
it ain't the Federation you're thinking of. It's those who stand together.
Extraction inbound.
Those who fall. And those who stay behind. So we can fight another day.
Get to the dropship, troopers!
This why we fight.
You know what to do. Extraction complete. Third wave ready, Command.
Willkommen zurück hier im Gamescom-Studio, live von der Gamescom 2024. Ich habe jetzt ein ganz besonderes Schmankerl für euch, auf das ich mich schon riesig freue. In der Vorbereitung habe ich mir schon ausgemalt, wie es wohl sein wird, dieses Franchise hier willkommen zu heißen. Es geht natürlich um Starship Troopers und ich habe zwei wundervolle Gäste hier. Casper Van Dien ist hier und Gareth. Herzlich willkommen.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. You brought quite the audience.
Yeah, I always travel with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I put them in my
Take
suitcase.
your bags.
It's interesting.
Okay.
Airport security is a bit tough, but yeah.
So good. That's such a good idea. Welcome here. How do you feel? How's Gamescom so far? Is it like, are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's great. I've been here a few times before.
Sure.
First time launching a game though, so it's very exciting to see it from the other end. I'd come before as a journalist.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's great to see everyone here excited. Before obviously the masses arrive on Friday. But yeah, it's just a great time of the year for gaming. August in Cologne.
Sure. How about you? Have you been to Gamescom before?
This is my first Gamescom.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thrilled to have the German division with us and to be doing this with Off-World Productions working on Starship Troopers. When Starship Troopers first came out, the movie, I saw it at Sony before I saw the premiere. And I said, you guys got to make a game. And they're like, yeah, Casper, yeah. And then all these games came out over the years that had things that were like Starship Troopers, but I always wanted, and which was cool, and I'm not negating any of that.
Sure.
But my dream was I saw the movie and I was like, I was in the movie. I was like, wait a minute, we need to have that game. And then they've done it, and they've done such an incredible job. They've taken all 5 movies, all the bugs from all 5 movies, added their own things to it, and created more bugs and created cooler. The bugs have even gotten better. And it's just, so you feel like you're in the movie. The first time I played it, he saw. Yeah. They put me in a room, they're like, let me play the game. And I was like, oh my God, I freaked out. Like I felt like I was in the movie.
Yeah. You must have so many good memories from that time, right?
I do, and people yell quotes at that from me all the time.
Wow!
So I feel like I still have it. So my memory of this movie is so impeccable because of the amount of people and the people that love it. And then going up and seeing this game and seeing what they've done. I go and I play this game right now. I Steam it. Probably 5 times a week at my house.
Really?
I streamed with my daughter. I've done that
a few
times now, and I'm going to do it again. We're doing it again on the 4th and later in the month. But I'm going to, I go on randomly and just play. And I'm going to start announcing it when I do, just so that people can. But I wanted to get a little bit better. Because I'm killing bugs pretty good, but...
yeah, you can always be better, right?
Yeah, it's a great surprise for players. You just log on a random Thursday night and I think I recognize that voice.
Yeah, right? Oh my God, yes.
And I put General J. Rico, so it's just me all lowercase. So when people see it, they're like, all right, General. They're like, wait, it is you, General. No, yes, it is. Let's kill some bugs.
Oh my God, this is so amazing. So this game has been in early access for over a year now.
Yeah, since May last year.
What are the learnings of this process? I mean, you just jump right in, right?
Yeah, I think early access has been important to us, and we hope that we've done it properly in the fact that we take on a lot of the player feedback. It hasn't been a case of just, I think early access has got a bit of a bad name from some developers where it's just a way of delivering an unfinished game and make some money. But for us, we really took it seriously to take on player feedback. Our goal has always been to get to 1.0, the game that we wanted to deliver. And so we used this period to get to that point, take in consumer feedback and player feedback. We're really proud of what the game is going to be at 1.0. But I have to say, that's just the beginning. This is going to be a live service game that we've got a roadmap for at least another 5 years with stuff that we want to add from not only the original movie, and I know we revealed a big one today with the tanker bug in our latest trailer, but a lot of the stuff that you're going to see going forward, I've been promised the team I won't spoil anything, but a lot of the stuff you've seen in the other movies and the kind of lesser known movies and the comic books and that, you're going to be seeing a lot of it coming through in the game in future updates.
Yeah, you were mentioning of the trailer, right?
Yes.
Right there. So there's going to be a single-player campaign in there.
Yes.
That's why you on board, right?
Yes.
What's that going to be like? Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah, I'll tell you as much as I'm allowed to tell you.
Sure.
Because so obviously it's narrative driven, and so I don't want to go too much in the story because it will spoil it.
I understand.
But essentially, General Rico has selected a special operations group, and that's what the single player is. You are the player, and you've got your other kind of NPC bots that you join that all have their own backstories and characters, and the general then gives you missions to go. But it's a far tighter experience because it's only 4 players. But essentially, will allow you to continue the story of Starship Troopers in a way that we've been allowed to write our kind of own narrative, which obviously Casper saw before and gave us the stamp of approval. That he said even Ed Newmeyer would have been proud of what we've written. So
I know Ed. Ed's one of my best friends. He's gonna love this when he sees it. When he sees the game, he's gonna love it. He's gonna love the dialogue, what they did, and they're gonna love all the bugs. I mean. When I dreamed of a video game, I couldn't have dreamed that it would be this cool. And people always said, well, why didn't it come out 10 years ago or 20 years ago? They didn't. We just have Carnage now. Just what they added Carnage just like a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah,
the
Carnage
bodies
came
coming up of all the bugs, they crawl over on top of each other. You kill them, they are there. You have to get rid of them if you want to. You have to blow them up and then pieces go everywhere. But even if you leave and you come back, they're still there.
Yeah,
the parts are still.
Persistent bodies was a big thing and a huge technical problem to solve, which the team did such a great job with, because we always wanted, speaking from a marketing point of view, we wanted to give players the authentic Troopers experience.
Yes.
And part of that is, as you kill the bugs, they become the ramp for the other bugs to get into your base, and we wanted that. And so it was
you have to have this chaos.
100%. And so if you played the game, after you extract and you kind of see the battlefield, it's littered with thousands of bugs. And it kind of shows you what you've done, as opposed to this clean battlefield.
I've gotten buried under them and couldn't get out. And I had one time I was getting buried and somebody came in and dug in and got me out, and I was able to get out. So it's literally incredible. And I used to game back in the day. I was an OG. Now I'm a noob again. But I'm playing this, and I'm like, we never had that. When you shot something and you killed it, it disappeared.
100%.
Yeah,
and that's just the way, that's my experience. And I was like, meh. And then, but it's still cool. I thought, I killed it. But now I come in this, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It feels so intense, right? When you just buried it under bugs and bugs and bugs.
And you can crawl through them. You can crawl, or you can blow up. You can knife your way through them.
Yeah.
You can nuke them. You can burn them. There's so many different things you can do. But you have to work together as a team, and that's what I love the most. That's what Starship Troopers is about.
Yeah.
Even though you're gonna die because there's so many bugs, you're still working together as a team, trying to pull your teammates out, and they give you incentives for doing that in the game too.
Nice. Oh, this sounds actually very, very great. So I have a last question for you, Casper. Actually, is that the first video game you've been working on, or did you do other stuff like that before?
I've done voiceovers for different Starship Troopers games throughout the years. I've done that. This is the real deal for me, though. This is the best experience I've ever had for me with the video game. This is everything I asked for when I said I wanted it. I couldn't even imagine what they've done. They even put in the song they had in the trailer when they first put it out was the first. It was the first cassette I bought when I was a kid.
Oh no!
When you gave the pennies out, it was the very first song. I was like, look over. I'm like, you guys know that this. I meant to buy another one, and that one came first. It was the first one I got. It was on my list of 10, but it's the first one I got. When you do in America, we have this thing where you pay a penny and you get all these cassettes, and then you have to pay a lot of money for them. So my dad was really mad at me.
So I got one last question for you, actually. Yeah. Why, of all things, did you pick the Starship Troopers franchise?
Okay.
There's there's tons of
hundreds of
cool franchises to pick, but you said we're going to do Starship Troopers.
Well, I think the easy answer is we're all just giant Starship Troopers nerds.
It's just
so
cool,
when the
right?
opportunity
It's just
came
so
out,
cool.
But incidentally, it actually started as a mod. So in Squad, one of our studio's other games, they kind of made a Starship Troopers mod, and it worked. It was super fun. And we kind of thought, could we turn this into a fully fledged game?
Yeah.
And teleport to several years later. Yes, we can. But yeah, I think the impetus and the momentum came from the fact that once that mod was created, there was just this spark within the studio, which was
there's something there,
everyone
right?
loved it. And I think Casper can speak to that. When you arrived at the studio, there wasn't this lip service of going, oh, who's this guy? Man, it was like an absolute celebrity walked in. They all had stuff to sign.
Yeah, they did. Every desk I went to, they took me to everybody throughout their whole thing, and they were like, they showed me what they did, and they talked to me, and they asked me questions about it, and I went, oh my God, and I would say something, they'd go, oh, we're gonna put that in the game. So there's little things that we talked about that they put in the game. You can use a shovel in there, because in Starship Troopers 3, a guy gets impaled with a shovel, and I pull it out. That's my opening scene in that, and I say, give me a hand, pick up that foot, whatever I say. But they added that in. You can actually hit the bugs with the shovel. You can do. There's everything is in this that they added so much. So I saw that they were genuine fans. They loved it. And I think also, there's so many games that have said that they were inspired by Starship Troopers. So when you have so many games that have been inspired by, or it's like Starship Troopers, but it's just not. Now they've made Starship Troopers, and that's incredible. They made the game that inspired a lot of others, and they're great. Those games in turn will help inspire our game, but our game is really the movie, and it's the movie on steroids. It's incredible.
That's so good to hear. So where can we actually try this game when we visit Gamescom?
So we've got a booth that you can check out there, and obviously you can experience the 16-player madness that is the Troopers thing.
Sure.
We got a giant bug there too, giant warrior bug. It's incredible.
Yeah, and you can there's a space you can impale yourself on the bug. Not really, but you can for a photo opportunity. But there's a life-size, 3.5 meter tall bug there for you to take a photo with. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome.
Very dedicated. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Have a great Gamescom.
Thank you so much.
So, das war's erstmal von uns hier aus dem Studio. Wir sehen uns gleich wieder mit einem anderen spannenden Thema. Bis dann.
Liebe Leute, wir sind hier am Xbox-Stand und ich habe das Gefühl, das ist der größte Xbox-Stand aller Zeiten jemals, ever.
Aber
Oder?
wirklich ever. Es ist so groß, die halbe Halle besteht nur aus dem Xbox-Stand und es sind so ungefähr 48.000 Spiele hier.
Und ihr seht es gerade so hinter uns, wir haben hier Little Nightmares 3, wir haben auch vor uns World of Warcraft, wir haben die Elder Scrolls, wir haben Sea of Thieves, wir haben Stalker 2, habe ich irgendwas vergessen? Ich glaube hinter uns...
Marine, Genshin Impact, Indiana
Valorant,
Jones, Warcraft, Valorant,
Diablo haben wir auch noch. Ja, also Forza 5 natürlich auch noch. Also es ist unfassbar groß. Es überrascht natürlich auch nicht dadurch, dass jetzt ein paar mehr Studios mit zur Xbox gehören. Aber das kann man sich ja alles vor Ort wirklich anschauen. Was ist denn so dein Favorite? Wo wirst du jetzt als erstes hingehen, um dir so ein paar Insights und neues Gameplay anzuschauen?
Also ich schaue auf jeden Fall mal ein bisschen bei Warcraft vorbei, was die sich da geremaked haben, mir ein bisschen angucken, wie das Ganze so aussieht. Little Nightmares 3 schaue ich auch mal rein und wahrscheinlich auch bei Metaphor.
Bei World of Warcraft habe ich gesehen, kann man so schön mit VR-Brille auf so einem hübschen Gestell sitzen, bis einem schlecht wird.
Ich liebe irgendwo sitzen, bis mir schlecht wird.
Das mache ich gerne jeden Tag. Ich glaube, ich werde jetzt dann auch langsam mal rübergehen zu Diablo Immortal, weil ich habe da so ein paar Cosplayer gesehen, die sind halb nackt. Bin jetzt auch schon ganz doll abgelenkt. Ja, ne? Und ich glaube, du willst dir auch mal Shattered Space anschauen.
Ich muss unbedingt in den Shattered Space, weil mein Leben ist schon shattered. Ich will jetzt wissen, was in Space abgeht.
Ja, alles klar. Ihr bleibt auf jeden Fall dran. Zurück ins Studio. Viel Spaß.
Ich bin jetzt hier mit Tim Lam und Lionel Ferrer beim Starfield Booth. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great.
Always great, thank you.
Are you enjoying Gamescom so far?
Yeah. Well, it's very quiet today, so it's good.
So you're the lead creative producer for Starfield, right? So how's your experience been at Gamescom so far?
It's impressive. It's amazing. It's my first time being to Gamescom, so it's like a little overwhelming, but humbling. Like, it's exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. And yes, how about you? Because you have a profession that is maybe quite unusual.
Yeah, so we are training astronauts to go to space, and part of our business is to use the technology of the video game actually to train them better using different software. So that's why we cross paths with Gamescom and people like Tim, because the technology they use is the same as we do for training and then later for operations.
Wow, also für die, die es vielleicht jetzt gerade noch nicht verstanden haben, Lionel Ferrer ist ein Astronautentrainer und er benutzt tatsächlich die gleiche Art, wie das Spiel benutzt, um die Astronauten wirklich zu trainieren, um denen einen Sense zu geben, wie es denn so ist in Space. What has the reception been by the astronauts when you're essentially telling them, here's a little video game simulation?
Yeah, some of our astronauts are gamers, and they like it for sure when when they can train in a nicer way than the classical way. So they really enjoy this kind of new method for training. For sure, it's a small part of the training. The rest of the training is, I would say, classical with mock-ups. But this part is really always amazing for them.
Oh, that's cool. So basically that means that, the game has to be pretty damn realistic, right? So how do you feel about like having real astronaut trainers on board complimenting you guys?
I think when the team found out that this was going to be a thing, the excitement, like the team, we're fans. And it's always like interesting to be, it doesn't seem connected, but we are, right? And in ways we can't even imagine. So like the team was super excited. So for me to be here to receive this, I heard it's the fastest moving thing that we'll have in our office. It's like fascinating to me, like the complexity with which they have to execute to make something so seemingly simple happen is like, it's amazing. So it's like, I'm honored to be able to receive this from them. It's like fantastic partnership. Thank you so much.
Nice, also tatsächlich ist mit der ESA eine Partnerschaft entstanden zwischen Starfield und es wurden sogar schon richtige Urkunden ausgestellt. Da freuen sich die Entwickler natürlich total drüber, weil wenn man natürlich ein Spiel macht, gerade wenn es eben um den Weltraum geht und um so Exploration, dann ist es natürlich auch cool, wenn man dann eben von Leuten aus dem Fach hört, ja, das ist sehr realistisch und sehr cool. So yeah, what can we expect this year at the Starfield booth?
We are showing a sneak peek of Shattered Space, so hopefully folks get the chance to stop in and see it. We're really proud of what we put together there. Like, it's an exciting time for Starfield.
Nice. And can you explain us a bit more of what is this this little document that you gave them? Is it like, did you win the prize?
No, it's an important document. As I said, we cross paths between video gaming and also space exploration. And as part of this partnership, we flew a Starfield patch to space with Marcus Van Mission. So he took this patch in his capsule going up to space, brought it up to the ISS. It took a very nice picture of the patch in cupola with the background of space. You see the Earth. And the patch flew back, and then we handed it over today at Gamescom. So that's to the Starfield company, so to the Starfield people. So it's amazing. We closed the loop.
Nice, so you flew to space, took the picture and then gave that to them. That is so cute. Also es gab tatsächlich eine richtige Space Expedition, wo dann dieses Bild geschossen wurde, was ihr jetzt hier seht. Das ist ja natürlich total cool. Und ein bisschen interessiert bin ich schon noch. Ich würde gerne wissen, beim Astronautentraining, wenn ich jetzt einmal Starfield durchgespielt habe, ich würde mich jetzt auf jeden Fall anmelden wollen und da möchte ich einmal wissen, was ich noch mitbringen muss. So, since I've played Starfield, I do qualify to become an astronaut with you guys now, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's awesome. What else what other qualifications would I have to show you guys other than I'm really good at Starfield?
Well, it's a traditional application. You will start to send your CV, your motivation letter, and then the selection process will start. And there will be some more to come, but that's possible.
Oh wow, that sounds really cool. Actually, I've always wanted to be an astronaut, so I guess I'll do it today. Oh, wow, that's my cue. Bye, guys. Hey!
Wir haben einen ungeorteten Notruf erhalten. Diese Sternstation ist nirgendwo verzeichnet. Das stimmt was nicht. Ich werde nie heimkehren, hier gefangen. Manasco retten. Die Zitadelle wieder aufbauen. Das ist der Wille der Schlange. Nasra ist gefangen.
Wir sollten nicht hier sein. Wir müssen von Bord.
Keine Bewegung und wähle deine Worte mit Bedacht. Sie entscheiden darüber, wie lange du lebst.
Du bist in die Heimat von Haus Varun eingedrungen. Über dein Schicksal bestimmt nun die große Schlange.
Spürst du, wie sie dein Herz umschließt? Dich einschnürt, bis es kein Ich mehr gibt. Nur noch uns.
Ich komme von der Tracker-Allianz. Wir wollen dir etwas vorschlagen.
Ich wünsche viel Glück.
Auf Xbox spielen.
Wir sind zurück hier auf der Gamescom 2024 im offiziellen Gamescom Livestream und ich muss sagen, hier jagt wirklich ein Highlight das andere. Gestern noch waren sie auf der ONL zu sehen und jetzt sind sie hier bei uns im Studio. Der Director und der Producer von Monster Hunter Wilds. Hey guys!
Hi!
Thank you for coming! Thank you!
はい、よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。
So you showed a brand new trailer yesterday. What can we see in there? We saw a huge new creature, for example. Can you tell us about that?
昨日公開している PV に登場している新要素、特に巨大なモンスターが映っていると思うんですけど、教えてください。
まず今まで公開していた隔ての砂原というのに加えて新しいフィールド火の森というものを公開しました。でそこの火の森に生息している代表的なモンスターとしてラバラバリナという、胸郭種雲のようなモンスターが新たに公開されています。
In previous trailers, we've only shown the Windward Plains, the desert type stage. So in yesterday's trailer, we showed for the first time the new Scarlet Forest location. And as you saw, there's a new monster featured there, a spider-like creature called Lalabarina.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on what is special about this particular monster?
このモンスターの特徴について教えてください。
そうですね。まず胸郭種雲のようなタイプのモンスターというのは、昔から海外の方中心に人気がすごく高くてですね。で今回ぜひ胸郭種の骨格を復活させたいなと思っていましたし、その中でバレリーナのように動きながら、なおかつ森に合うような花のようなモチーフを持ったようなモンスターとしてデザインしています。
The monster's design reflects both the combination of a ballerina-like movement and a flowery appearance that lets it fit in with the Scarlet Forest setting. We have heard in the past that particularly outside Japan, Western users loved our spider or insect-like monsters. And we haven't had one appear in the series for a little while. So we worked hard on developing the skeleton and structure of the monster to make sure that it looks great in Monster Hunter Wilds.
And I'm sure everybody is very excited about this. Great feedback from the community already. What are you especially proud of developing Monster Hunter Wilds?
今回のワイルズでここはすごく誇りに思える、ぜひ皆さんに伝えたいポイントとかあれば教えてください。
そうですね。今回こだわっているのはやっぱりモンスターハンターの世界をしっかり、描いた今の技術で描いた上で、モンスターハンターらしいアクションを遊んでもらうっていうところにすごくこだわってますので、まずは本当にモンスターハンターの世界がすごく進化したんだなとか、本当にモンスターが本当のモンスターの生物らしく、この、モンスターハンターワイルズの世界の中で本当に生きてるかのように動いてたりとかする、そういうところに飛び込んでいくっていうところのワクワク感っていうのはすごく感じていただきたいと思っています。
I think the thing I'm most proud of, or the thing I'd like everyone to notice the most, is how much effort we've taken to use the latest technology to push the boundaries in terms of not just visual realism, but also how realistic an ecosystem the game feels like it has. We really try to make sure that the monsters feel like living, breathing creatures who are behaving inside the environment in a kind of realistic, animalistic way. And that's one of the things that I really hope players will appreciate when they get their hands on the game.
あと生態系も含めた上で豊かさとちょっと荒々しさっていうのもちょっとの二面性っていうのも今回はテーマにしてますので、そういうのも感じてもらえたらと思います。
The other special point about Monster Hunter Wilds is that you may have noticed in trailers and things that the environment actually has a kind of two-sidedness to it. There'll be these bountiful, plentiful periods, and then suddenly the weather and the conditions will change, and it'll be a more sort of wild, stormy condition. So being able to see the areas in both sides of that is really exciting.
Yeah. There's also one thing I asked a couple of fans about that they kind of don't know yet what they're gonna do with it. There's something called a focus mode, and that makes hunting different now. Are we able to decide for ourselves which style we want to play, or does it have to be focus mode?
フォーカスモードが実装されているのですが、ファンはまだやっぱり遊べていないので、強制的にフォーカスモードが入る瞬間があるのか、任意のタイミングで使える要素なのか、ちょっと詳細について教えてください。
はい、フォーカスモードというのはボタンを押している時にだけ発動するモードですので、プレイヤーが任意のタイミング、自分のタイミングで使っていただけますし、フォーカスモード必ずしも使わなくても十分楽しんでいただけるような形にはなってますので、より使っていただけた方がより追加のアクションとかは出せるんですけれども、自分のタイミングで出しながら遊ぶことができます。
Focus mode only occurs when the player wants to use it, when they hold the button. So it's completely up to you when or even if you want to use it. It's kind of an extra tool we've added to the player's tool set. I think it's really useful, and if people use it, they'll be able to use additional actions that are only possible during focus mode. But really, your style is completely up to you.
This sounds great, actually. It's like a great addition to the game. There's another thing I noticed. There are little tents now. You can basically put on wherever you want. What's behind this? What can we do with the tents? And is it really everywhere we can put them?
キャンプがどこにも置けるようになっていると思うんですけど、これはどういう仕様で、本当にどこに置いてもいいのか、キャンプではどういうことができるのかについて教えてください。
はい、まずキャンプ自体はモンスターハンターワールドの時と同じようにファストトラベルのポイントになっていたりだとか、力尽きた時にそのリスポーンするポイントになったりだとか、あとアイテムを、補充したり装備を変えたりするような場所になっています。でワイルズはワールド以上にフィールド自体が広くなってますので、自分の好きなところにキャンプを置いていくことで戦略的にハンティングを進められるような拠点として、作っています。
The camps are similar to the fast travel camps in Monster Hunter World. If you're familiar with that game, then you'll know that you're able to go back into the tent and stock up on items or change your gear. Also, whenever you faint during the hunt, that's where the palicos cart you back to. So they do have a fundamentally similar function to those camps, including the ability to fast travel. But as you mentioned in Monster Hunter Wilds, for the first time, you can actually freely place these camps anywhere in the environment. This is because the environments are so much bigger this time around, several times larger, that it made more sense to allow the player to choose the location that they want to have that happen.
ただですね、どこでも建てられるというわけではなくて、いくつかの候補地があって、その候補地の中から決められた数設営できるような形になっています。そこには安全な場所だったりとか、便利だけどモンスターに壊される可能性がある場所とかもありますので、自分のプレイスタイルに合わせて選んでいくような遊びが今回できます。
That said, it's not completely free placement throughout every area of the map. We have some zones where it'll be possible, and it'll be something of a strategic choice by the player. There might be some areas that are closer to the action, but a bit more dangerous, and there's a risk of being attacked by a monster. And there's areas that are further apart, but safer. So it's kind of up to you to decide which way you want to do it.
Okay. One last question for both of you. Do you have a favorite monster in Monster Hunter Wilds?
お二人にですけど、一番お気に入りのワイルズに登場する。
ワイルズに登場する。ワイルズですか。ワイルズは正直ですね、まだ本当に一部しかモンスターを公開してないので、 ワイルズの中からと言われるとなかなか難しくはなってくる。
シリーズを通してでもいい。So we've only released a little bit of information about monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds, so there wouldn't be a lot to choose from, but
Yeah.
if it's okay, they'll say their favorite from the whole series, perhaps?
Sure.
シリーズを通してでもいいです。
シリーズなら僕はラオシャンロンっていう一番初めに出てきたシリーズの中でも一番初めに出てきた超巨大モンスターっていう立ち位置のモンスターなんですけど、これ初代からいるモンスターなんですけど、そのラオシャンロンというのがちょっとクエストの毛色も変わるので一番好きですね。はい。
My favorite would be Lao Shanglong, which is a massive monster that appeared right in the first Monster Hunter, and it's a bit special because the format of the quest is different than normal quests, so I find that really cool.
僕はラギアクルスというモンスターハンタートライのフラッグシップモンスターを自分で初めて設計したので非常に気に入ってるんですが、ワイルズでいうと今まだ公開していないフラッグシップモンスターについては、非常にストーリーとも絡まっていて魅力的なモンスターに仕上がっているので、すごく期待していただきたいなと思っています。
For me personally, Lagiacrus from Monster Hunter Tri was the first flagship title monster that I personally designed myself. So it's something that I have a lot of strong nostalgic feelings about.
Yeah.
Speaking of flagship monsters, we have yet to reveal the flagship monster from Monster Hunter Wilds.
That's
but
right.
Rest assured, we've made something really cool. So stay tuned for more information.
We absolutely will. Thank you so much for coming today. Good luck with the game and have a great Gamescom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ja, das war's von uns hier mit Monster Hunter Wilds und wenn ihr dran bleibt, dann verpasst ihr keine spannenden Dinge, deswegen dranbleiben.
Wir stehen hier vorm Booth von Sega und in dem Fall gucken wir uns das Spiel Metaphor ReFantazio an. Hier ist eine Riesenstatue dazu und ich kann es kaum erwarten zu sehen, was die Leute von Atlus uns diesmal mitgebracht haben. Atlus ist nämlich der Entwickler von diesem Spiel und wie ihr vielleicht schon wisst, ist ja Persona eine meiner Lieblingsreihen und Persona 5 eines meiner Lieblingsspiele ever und deswegen bin ich natürlich unglaublich gespannt zu sehen, was die uns diesmal mitgebracht haben. So, ich habe hier jetzt den Matt gefunden und der erzählt uns doch direkt mal ein bisschen über das Spiel. Hey Matt!
Hiyo!
So we're at the Gamescom booth. How are you enjoying Gamescom so far?
It's great. Every year is a lot of games, a lot of gamers. So yeah, having a great time, just enjoying the ambience and yeah, getting into it really.
Awesome. So what can you tell us about Metaphor ReFantazio?
Yeah, sure. Metaphor ReFantazio is an adventure RPG set in a fantasy world.
Wow, that's cool. And it's by Atlus, right? So the people behind the Persona games?
Yes, so it's made by the original creators of Persona 3, Persona 4 and Persona 5. So we've got Katsura Ashino, Shigenori Sojima and the music composer Shoji Meguro.
Oh my God, especially the music. I'm looking forward to that. So yes, what can you tell us about what we're to expect at your booth at Gamescom?
So we created this massive statue. This is the Seeker that is an archetype you have in the game. And it's, it's something we're really proud of. Like there's a special piece on it with the heart that you see the main character protagonist rip out of their chest, basically. So it looks really impressive.
That's and cool.
So we invite everyone to take photos here. And then in the booth, we've got stations where you can try 3 different demos. They're all 15 minutes. And then so you've got a demo where you can experience the journey in the game because it's the first time you travel into the world of Uchronia, the kingdom of Uchronia. You've got a demo about a dungeon crawl where you explore a dungeon, find some loot, have a side quest. And then there's a third demo where you have a boss battle, fan favorites boss battles, which are very present in this game. So yeah, a lot to see.
Okay, krass. Also es gibt tatsächlich so ein bisschen Dungeon-Crawl-Elemente und fürs Fighting-System reißt man sich ganz einfach so das Herz raus und beschwört damit dann eben jemanden, der an deiner Seite oder für dich eben kämpft. Das ist super, super cool und wir gucken uns das Ganze mal an.
Are you real? More real than you, I'm afraid. So, where's the captain? I told you, everyone died. Oh, this is insane. What a trip. It's not a trip. It's reality. Your new reality. Are we brothers or something? We have the same DNA, but we led separate lives. What the hell? Calm down. You're not the original Jan, but that doesn't mean you can't be important. Like, you look like me, but also not like me. What the fuck did you drug me with, man? No, you're not hallucinating. Remember who you are. My name is Jan Dolsky, but I'm seeing fucking double. You should worry about that.
Willkommen zurück im Gamescom Studio 2024. Ich habe schon den nächsten Gast für euch hier parat. Und er ist Schauspieler und spielt eine Person in dem Videospiel The Alters. Ich bin sehr glücklich, dass er hier ist. Hey Alex!
Hello!
Good to see you!
Thank you very much for having me.
Dude, this must be the nicest and coziest outfit on the whole floor.
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
This is the outfit of Jan Dolsky in The Alters.
Sure.
Which was made for me. I do have to be very aware as I move that it's
a
quite
little
rustly.
noisy,
We
right.
also even have these little very handy little metal tags on the side. Yeah, this is the outfit of Jan Dolsky in The Alters, which was made for me by 11-Bit Studios.
So nice.
So nice. I even got the socks, the
Oh, you
Alters
have the
socks and all.
on.
There we go. Do a little.
Wow.
And I kind of thought, if they're going to go to all the effort of making the tracksuit for me, it would be rude not to wear it, you know?
No, you look great in that.
Thank you very much. Magenta, I found magenta as my color, which is, it's not a color which I think you have much opportunity to discover is your color in any other situation.
This is it now.
Yeah.
This is it. So let's talk about The Alters. What kind of game is that actually?
The Alters is, it's a base building survival resource gathering game, but it's also very much a story driven game. So you can have a lot of, resource games, a lot of strategy games that are very much heavily focused on those mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story is kind of it's a part of it, but it's not necessarily, sort of one of the core bits of the game. But with this, it is just as much a narrative-driven game as it is the other elements of it. If anything, actually, maybe more so than many other games. It's a deeply narrative game where you go into the ideas of what if you could change your past, what if you could become a different person, what would happen if 5 years ago you made a different decision and your life led in a totally different way. And so in that sense, it's kind of deeply, deeply narrative in a way that many other games aren't.
Sure. And the twist of the game is that you play Jan Dolsky, but not only one version, but like up to 8 other versions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put the exact number on because we are allowed to say now. Okay, we've got 11. Okay.
11
last time I talked about this game, we were in a place of going, we're not quite saying exactly how many. We've got 11 different Jan Dolskys, and I voice all of them, which it's been an immense, incredible, amazing challenge. As far as I'm aware, I can't think of anything that's ever been like it before in video games. One actor,
you did so many jobs before, right?
Yeah.
You voiced Sherlock Holmes. You
Yeah.
did so many other games. Would you say this is like the most ambitious one you did?
Yes, this 100%. I think So I can definitely say right now, this is the biggest challenge of my acting career. And I feel pretty comfortable in saying, I think by the time my acting career is over, which hopefully will be when I'm in the ground, because I want to go forever. I think it is going to be the most challenging of my career. I mean, we have this character, we have to find the voice for the character, and then we have to find 10 other versions of the character who all have to sound similar enough that they are believably the same person, but different enough that they have all believably lived different lives. So it's a fine tightrope, of walking that. And also, when you do that, having 11 of them, not having some of them feel cartoonish. They've all still got to feel like they're believable voices of people. But when they all get together and they talk, there's moments where they interact with each other. The audience, the player, whoever, if you're like dropping in on someone's stream, if you're playing it yourself, you have to always know who's talking.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's a big challenge.
How did you approach that? Did you actually watch the movie Moon?
So a lot of people drawn comparisons with Moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, 11-bit have been amazing from the start. There's a big thing happening at the moment, particularly in the UK, where voice actors are being asked to sign NDAs before they even know what they're auditioning on.
Wow, yeah.
And a lot of the time you are given very little information, even when you're in the game. There was a time, I was at Gamescom last year, and I looked up at this massive booth and recognized the artwork and went, hold on, I recognize that. And I went back and I looked through my emails and found the project artwork, and I was like, that's me, that's my character. And I had no idea what the game was. I had no idea, But 11-bit from the very beginning, the moment I auditioned, were like, here's all the information you need to make this. They realized it's an extreme challenge. Mm-hmm. In order to make it work, if it is going to work, we're going to have to give you every bit of information. So from the get-go, from the first auditions, every piece of information I could possibly want to help make this a fleshed out character, to help make these different individual alters feel fleshed out and real as well. So yeah, it's been a very collaborative thing from the very beginning to make it work.
That sounds great, actually. Do you have a favorite version of Jan? Is there any I should avoid, maybe?
My favorite Jan is definitely Jan, but also possibly Jan, but also it would be remiss of me not to mention Jan.
Sure, yeah, that would be rude, right?
Yeah, exactly. I definitely do have a favorite, and then I also have one who I'm looking forward to seeing people's thoughts and feelings, because I had a thought and a feeling about this Jan when we first started working, and now we've reached sort of like, reaching the end point of recording. My opinion has totally changed on this Jan.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I'm intrigued to see
if
other people could be growing, could be the other way. So.
All right, we have to see for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Do you actually know where we can find the game here on the show floor?
The game on the show floor is over at the Xbox booth, which is right behind us over there.
All right, then everybody should just check out the game, I'd say.
Yes.
Thank you so much for stopping by in your very nice outfit.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, das war's fürs Erste. Wir machen gleich weiter mit einer anderen spannenden Geschichte. Bleibt einfach dran und genießt unsere Coverage hier von der Gamescom 2024.
So, ich bin jetzt hier mit Justine. Mir ist direkt schon eine Katzenhand gewachsen und auch ein paar Ohren. Und wir werden mal rausfinden, was es hier mit Insoy auf sich hat. Hey Justine, how's it going? How's your Gamescom experience been so far?
It's been really wonderful. Actually, the booths at the moment are very creative, very different. There's a lot of experiences. There's a lot of merch to get, a lot of different activities to do. It's been great.
I can't wait to have a walk around, because this is such an enormous booth and it looks so cool and so clean. Ihr seht das ja vielleicht selber, alles ist super hell erleuchtet und sieht so ein bisschen aus wie ein Office. This is an office aesthetic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there was a specific concept that we wanted to have at the booth itself, meaning that we wanted players to have the experience of they're working at the Ensoy office specifically. And therefore, you kind of go in, you're part of the team, and when you create your avatar, you're going to be able to get a tag as a souvenir.
Oh wow, das ist cool. Also es war tatsächlich beabsichtigt, die Leute sollten hier auch reinkommen und sollen sich gleich so fühlen, als wären sie ein Employer von der ausgedachten Firma aus dem Spiel Insoy. So yeah, about the game, what even is Insoy and why is there a giant cat floating above our heads?
Yeah, so we have Sai the cat, that's right there. So it's actually a simulation game. It's for people to really be able to construct their own world, their own characters, and kind of just live out their adventures.
Oh wow, in Germany we love that. Es ist ein Live-Simulator, also so ein bisschen, ihr könnt euer eigenes Leben gestalten und euch da komplett austoben. Yeah, that's really cool. Why are cats so important in this game? I mean, I do agree in every life simulation there should be many cats.
Yeah, it's just to have the overall realism of the relationships. So you're able to create different characters of different genres, different ages, and really create a second life to what you want and the specific details of it. And obviously having a nice little cat as a pet is something that, you know, it brings you a little bit more love.
That's true, and that's what every person who's allergic dreams of, so.
Exactly.
Wow, so that's really cool. Thank you guys for being here, and we're just gonna have a look around and see what's up.
Yeah, let's look around. Here you have the overall experience of the actual office in Insoy itself. So you have kind of the little library area, and then you have the different sitting area to not only play the game, but also to be able to create your own character and whatnot.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I can see that on some of the screens already. There's a character creator, you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you can go from, you know, hair, age, like I said, different genre, and also a very cool thing that we saw, you can actually kind of customize your own manicures. So, yeah.
Oh, there's a little nail polish simulator in there as well. That is so cool. That is something where I just approximately take 1 hour. Ich brauche immer so ungefähr eine komplette Stunde, um so einen Charakter zu erstellen. Deswegen würde ich sagen, das sieht auf jeden Fall wie was aus, mit dem ich mich jetzt hier sehr, sehr lange beschäftigen werde. Und da sind wir auch schon am Booth von Sega und hier ist direkt schon mal ein kleiner Museumssimulator am Start, Two Point Museum. I'm here with the developers and yeah, just you guys tell us a bit, what is this booth about?
Yeah, so this is our new game, 2 Point Museum. It's a management sim game where we're putting you in the role of a museum manager and you get to basically build up these amazing collections of really awe-inspiring exhibits from all around 2 Point County. You go on expeditions, you bring things back, you put them in your museums, and you basically give the guests an amazing experience coming through your museum.
Okay, super cool. Also ein Management-Simulator tatsächlich, wo man das Museum komplett managen kann, selber zusammenstellen soll, die Ausstellungsstücke natürlich irgendwo ankauft und dann ausstellen kann. Und das klingt auf jeden Fall super interessant. What was the initial inspiration for the game?
So with our games, there's loads of different things we've looked into. Previously, we've done a hospital simulation game and a school campus simulation game. I think for this one, we really wanted to delve into the creative tools more. We wanted to delve into the exploration more, and we thought that with a museum game, you know, we thought we could really pull on all those strings.
So I suppose there's going to be like different areas in the museum, right? Where you...
Yeah, we have lots of different exhibit themes. The one we're focusing on at the moment in our playable demo here is prehistory. So you're finding dinosaur bones, different parts of dinosaur bones, and you can complete the skeletons. But the dinosaurs you find aren't necessarily things that you might expect to see in the real world. They make sense in our slightly twisted world of 2 Point County. And you'll find fossils, you'll even find a frozen caveman in ice. And if you don't keep it chilled, then the ice will melt and the caveman will run amok around your museum and cause all sorts of trouble.
So is that good points for publicity or bad points for attacking the museum people?
It could have pros.
Okay, also es gab vorher schon mal einen Campus-Simulator, also die Leute kennen sich hier wirklich schon aus damit. Und die Ausstellungsstücke des Museums ist jetzt nicht wirklich Sachen, die sind zwar inspiriert von der realen Welt, aber es ist jetzt kein richtiges T-Rex-Skelett, sondern eher ein bisschen verspieltere Sachen. Es gibt zum Beispiel auch einen eingefrorenen Caveman, dass wenn der schmilzt, dann rennt er im Museum einfach rum und macht seine Amok-Sachen. Das könnte für die Publicity gut sein, aber vielleicht für die Gäste nicht so angenehm. Wir schauen uns das Ganze jetzt mal an.
This is the museum audio guide. Take 103. The world is full of wonder, mystery, and culture. But it's also big, and who has the time, eh? So, here at our museum, we grab that culture by the foot and bring it right to you. Prehistory. Time before time knew what time it was. Here, we have a primitive computer. So ancient, so rudimentary, we think it could be at least 3 years old. And over to your left, you'll see a child climbing the... Oh my, no, perhaps to the right, where we have... Oh, good heavens! Look up! This can't be good. Ah, that's one of our experts returning now with an exciting new exhibit. Oh my, this one appears to be interactive. And that concludes our tour of this part of the museum. Tell your friends, bring your family. After all, you can't spell museum without you and me.
Ja, das war doch ein ganz schöner Einblick, den wir da bekommen haben. Dann mal gleich eine Frage zum Gameplay. About the gameplay, what is something that you wanted to make unique to the game?
Well, for me personally, I think there's a lot more creative freedom in this game. We've given you a whole load of new customization tools, so you can really decide how you want to channel the visitors through your museum. You can put down all these partition walls, you can put down staff doors and have behind the scenes areas just for your staff. You really get to customize that guest experience, decide where you put your gift shops, where do you put your guided tours, that sort of thing. And yeah, there's just a lot of control over where you want to explore in the world and what sorts of exhibits you'll get back. So you can really customize and make the museum unique to you.
Sounds awesome. Also es gibt tatsächlich, lässt einem das Spiel unglaublich viel Freiraum. Man kann alles customizen, was man möchte. Du kannst dir das selber einrichten, kannst anscheinend auch das Layout von dem Museum ein bisschen verändern und das ist ziemlich cool.
Yeah, so building on that, we really wanted to make these incredible awe-inspiring spaces. So we worked on the customization tools, the decorative items, the lighting options, and we also wanted to make the game really deep simulation. Our games do have lots of depth to them, and we've done that through the exploration system and the management systems. So we've got analysis, we've got gift shops, and everything you'd expect really. But of course, everything has a bit of a two-point twist.
Wow, that looks awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time, and ja, euch viel Spaß bei 2 Point Museum. Ja, das war auch schon der allererste Gamescom-Tag hier aus dem Gamescom-Studio 2024 in Halle 7. Aber verzaget nicht, wir sind morgen wieder für euch da ab 12 Uhr mit weiteren spannenden Interviews und Field Trips hier von der Köln Messe. Bis morgen!